that I use with the worship apprentices. This comes out of Deborah and Ron Reenstra's book, Worship Words. There's an appendices on there on a worship planning process. Again, Ron was the one who came up with the address, action, appeal, aspiration, amen. So he's got previse, devise, revise, realize, analyze. One of those is not an actual word, right? But it certainly rhymes really well. And just so a little chart there. And then there's a sample planning agenda for what that might look like in a meeting. And then over on the other page is a worship planning worksheet that John Whiffleet has used. Specifically centered around if you're wanting to brainstorming around a particular worship move or habit or expression before God. So you wanted to brainstorm different ways to think about confession, to brainstorm different ways to think about intercession, and some questions that you might ask yourself. And then there's just a little worship planning grid at the end there that I often use with the WAS. And right in the middle there, there's actions: sit, stand, sing, pray, read, move, etc. Those things in and of themselves do not constitute worship. You can do all of those things at a seventh inning stretch at a baseball game. Right? So what you need to do is you need to take those various actions and then you need to connect them up with habits of worship, different texts, and then art forms, and then people who would lead them. And so this is a nice, helpful grid because oftentimes we get locked into patterns of, well, let's stand and sing a contemporary song of praise led by the worship team. But if you use this grid, you can think about all other ways. You could just brainstorm other creative ways of doing praise. Maybe the children are involved in leading the praise, and maybe instead you use a painting. And then maybe you have the people read a text that is alongside the painting, or the child is reading a text that is alongside the painting. And so you could just sort of brainstorm other ways that you could do those different actions by using that grid. And then there are additional resources that come from the Animo website and the toolbox section there for that you can use as really good, helpful brainstorming questions and planning questions and planning worship. So we have come to the end of all things, Samwise Gamgee. So